Oh, yeah. Good morning. Hey, let me get my camera set up. Cheryl is with us today. Good morning. This is Spence, the Evil Genius, and welcome to our Friday Freelance Fast Track webinar. I'm going to call this Working Without a Net version, because today we're going to do what we normally do on a Wednesday casual hangout. We're going to mix it up today, and we're going to do something like that for a Friday. So those of you who are not yet either Lifetime or WordPress training system members can get a taste of what it's like on the inside. And today we're going to be talking about the ability for you to launch a video membership site in 3 minutes or less. But I'm going to do even one better. Let me ask Cheryl, how's the sound? How's the sound and video? Very good. I'm going to do even one better because today, many of you have asked in the past, and today's, hey, your holiday present, I guess. I'm going to show you step by step how I will get your whole stack set up. In other words, one of the things I'm going to show you to remind you or to show you for the first time is our 1WD TV training system stack is what gives you the power to find somebody new anywhere you are or online and offer them a solution, which opens up the relationship. And many of you have asked, hey, Spence, how do you do this? It seems so hard. I'm going to show you step by step live without a net. This is all the deal. Okay, and you can watch me on your browser as we go. So you're going to see not only the configuration of the stack, but once I have the stack today, I'm going to put a timer on the screen. I'm going to show you how I suggest you do it for yourself so that every client you launch is under 3 minutes, which means you can do it anywhere, anytime, and be ready to go, including membership with video membership or whatever type of post type you want to protect. Okay, if you guys are ready, this is going to work. There is my friend Kevin. Good morning, Kevin. Whoa, the VMK almost done. You'll see today, won't you? Kevin likes to come on at our Hangouts in here and act surprised, but yet you know that you can always reach us here at 1WDTV. We have 3 ways to reach us. You can reach us 4, actually. You can reach us directly via the support tab. You can reach us via the little Intercom IO button when you're logged in as a free member. So just join for free, and then you can communicate instantly. You could communicate, actually, there's 5 ways. You can communicate with email, Spencer at 1WDTV or Cheryl at 1WDTV. You can communicate via the internal chat at 1WDTV/chat. And then finally, you can go ahead and enter a support ticket. Okay, so let's get this going. I got a lot to show you, and I want to do it fast because many of you have to get on a plane and go somewhere, right? Holidays are starting. Today is the last day. All right, so I'm going to have to do a little tiny bit of configuring, so don't get upset for a second because I like to work on my feet. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you the screen. And for those of you who are on a laptop, I'm going to try as best as I can to stay on this screen instead of showing you my whole desktop because I have a big iMac desktop and it's just hard to read all the details, okay? Good morning, everybody who is joining us, who's a previous member or new. I'm going to close down a couple things. All right, first thing we want to do is let's get the slides up. That's going to help because it'll give us a way to track. So hold on. I should have done this. I don't know. Normally I'm a little bit more prepared, but I was really just doing like last minute exciting preparation. I'm going to share with you everything I did, but I was just really working on this thing. And I couldn't stop, and then I looked up, and there you go. It's time for the webinar. All right, so today's topic is how we're going to build a membership site with WooCommerce in 3 minutes, and I'm going to present this. I'm going to do this way. That's not the way I want to do it. Hold on. I'm going to do this in the browser. Normally, I do it as a separate thing, but then I have to keep switching. So hold on. Well, you know, I don't care. Let's do it this way. I was going to say we can do it present from beginning, but this puts it in a full screen. Let me see one last thing. Sorry. Guys, those of you who are joining me for the first time, this is the cool thing. This is how it normally is on a Wednesday. On a Friday, normally I give a presentation that's a little bit more prepared. Screw it. We're going to do it this way. On a Friday, that makes it a slick presentation. But today, you're getting a taste. We're very casual on Wednesday. All right. So if you never met me before, hey, here I am with my sort of robe open. Everything is out in the open today, and that's good. My name is Spencer Foreman, the evil genius, and we've got a great little thing going on here at 1WD that is the culmination of many, many years of freelance experience, as well as experience building businesses online. And the tools and the training and everything we're going to show you today are going to make it possible for you as a freelance web designer, developer, or curious WordPress person to succeed financially. And if you want to go ahead and share, please do. Here's the links, 1WDTV/live classroom, or you can use our 1WDTV hashtag. And let's open that a little bigger. All right, today what we're going to do is we're going to start out with what we call the stack. And I'm really just jumping past all the normal, this is not a motivational or persuasive type of Friday. This is going to be a hands-on training on the tools. So what we're going to do today is talk about, this is our stack. And one of the things that we teach in the training is how to push or pull your way to a new client. And we provide you with all the training you need to get in that mindset for free when you join us at 1WDTV for free. It's called our 3-day boot camp. But once you have the psychology of who you're looking for and how to find them and talk to them, the first step is always to launch a site with what we call lab hosting. Okay, so take a couple notes here. The lab hosting, if you want to set up a reseller server that you can launch any number of solutions for any number of new people you meet, is going to be 1WD.TV hosting. When you do that, it should direct you, let's hope I get the right page, to this page here. Now, a reseller server is different than a single site server because it's literally like you are owning a school bus and you can pick up all the kids on the way to school, versus having a motorcycle or a scooter and you can pick up one kid. Now, what's the difference? Well, instead of $3 or $4 a month, maybe it's 16, 17, call it 20 bucks a month. But you've got a school bus now. And in a school bus, you have seats for literally dozens and dozens of kids, just like in a server. And each of the kids gets their own seat. Whereas on a scooter, you, in some countries, can probably put a lot of people. See if we get a good picture. In a lot of countries, I've seen funny images where, you get like 8 people on a scooter. Like, maybe this isn't that funny, but I've seen, here we go. Like, this is not what you want to do, but this is what many of you are doing. You're getting a $5 website. Oh, and I think I'll stick 5 or 10 of my clients into subfolders on that. Big, big, big mistake. You don't want to do that. Here's why. First of all, it looks inherently dangerous. I'm a father, and the fact there's an infant on this scares me. There's 2 infants on this. But in the real world of the servers, what scares me is when you take a single site and put multiple clients in it, guess what? You've just committed all your clients to basically going floating or sinking with that ship. And if one of your clients does something naughty or gets something that's a virus or whatever the case may be, you're exposing all of those clients to the same problem. Furthermore, you can't use any of the management tools that allow you to do the things that I'm going to show you today. And so be honest with yourself, for goodness sake. Okay, if I said to you, you could take 25 to 50 of your clients out to Starbucks and buy them coffee for $16.50 a month, or you can do this. We have our single site offer. If you go to 1WDTV Canva hosting, you can do our single site deal. Okay. This will set you up. We've calculated this. This will put you right up with a WordPress site ready to go. It's about $3.96 a month. Okay. So if you had a choice, take 25 to 50 of your friends out for 17 bucks, or one of your friends to coffee, or one of your clients to coffee for 4 bucks, 5 bucks maybe. Which would you do? Well, the problem is many of you are penny wise and dollar foolish. And you're like, I'm taking them one person for 5. And I'm like, no, wrong. Big mistake. You want to take 25 to 50 at their discretion at any time for this, because now you got 25 to 50 people with whom you can build a relationship, a paying relationship that leads to thousands of dollars a year, tens of thousands, even more. And the idea is that's an investment in your stack, an investment in what you do. By having the reseller server, you've got the foundation to do everything else that's necessary to succeed, and you won't have this kind of crazy, if the motorcycle tire blows out, the whole family's gone. Well, when you have each of your individual clients on their separate WordPress installation, if one of your clients goes down, you don't lose all 25 to 50 of your clients. By the way, question came in. This is the last event for 2015, which is why I'm doing this kind of crazy thing. So Cheryl will post it up there. We're not going to do anything else. I am going out of town from the 22nd to the 28th with my family, and I'll be thinking and relaxing and enjoying family time and doing some stuff probably to get everything ready to rock out of here for the new year. I will not leave you guys hanging. I will be available online, but generally speaking, no other live events. Okay, so enjoy this one. All right, so now that we've got the stack, let's go over. I have actually set up a stack here, and I'm gonna create a new page, and let me just make sure I'm logged in here. I am going to deprive you of my login information. I'm sorry to say, but that's okay. I share everything else with you. Okay, now I'm prepared to show you. With our A2 partnership, when you go over here, you'll be able to manage your services. This is like any other client management portal. I mean, it looks the same if you go to MDD almost, looks the same if you go to Bluehost. There are variations on it, but basically I got to manage. I have two of them set up. I have one's a regular single site and one is a reseller. So imagine I had signed up for the reseller. I'm going to manage it. And I get all kinds of information here. I'm going to be very careful. I don't think it'll show you anything you don't need to know. I'm going to log in to what's called my WHM, which is my web host manager. Yes, and Kevin does say the A2 hosting is sweet. It is sweet because A2 hosting we hand selected after many other attempts with other partnerships as the people to go with for offering you guys a suggestion. You don't need to use them, but as a suggestion on where to start, because like today, you're gonna see how simple it can be, and they've got servers around the world. They're set up for the stuff that we actually specialize in, and the price is right. A WHM is the simplest way for you to manage multiple clients, and it's super simple. It's just like a gigantic dashboard version of cPanel. What we really do is just type in either on the left a shortcut or just find it here, okay, like account functions or account information or whatever. I just want to list out the accounts. And so here I've got a number of accounts. I'm not going to share with you my passwords and such, but I'm going to show you, for example, I can go into any of these sites into cPanel, and I can create a new site from scratch. Now, the reason this is important is there are tools, one of which is called WHMCS, that allows you to not have to go and manually do what I'm going to do right now. You can literally set up a dashboard, and you can go to the demo. Cheryl can help me with the, actually, here's the link. When you use WHMCS, if you're ready, what is it? It's username is admin and demo. If you were using WHMCS, you can set up an entire business on here. This can handle your billing, your automation, your launching of sites. We don't need to worry about this right now. I just want you to understand that there are tools that let you go even farther once you start using this kind of a system. But for today, we're not going to use WHMCS. We're going to use just the WHM. And I know these acronyms are crazy. WHM is the hosting manager, web host manager. WHMCS is a control system that is an add-on that goes on top of WHM. WHM lets you manually create sites, as you can see these demos, for each of your clients on the school bus. These are seats on the school bus, and these are children. And when you use this system, you can manually create a seat and a child in the seat, or you can do it automatically and also bill them and recurring bill them and all this stuff. But WHMCS is an advanced tool that we don't need to do today. EO Junior, yes, this is being recorded on YouTube and will go live when you're done. It'll be available to you immediately to go back and watch again and again and again. All right, so when we have an account here, we have a cPanel, and that is the site that you normally get if you were, for example, to go buy a single site from one of those cheapies like, God forbid, GoDaddy. You never want to host with GoDaddy for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is that they try to jam 8,000 people onto a shared server and the performance is bad. But they also do crazy stuff like activating a certain type of a caching plugin called APC cache, which will cache your PHP commands and cause your code to act funny. And then they pretend they don't know what's wrong. So going with something like a standalone host such as A2 or A2 with a reseller means you can launch your own instances and not have to worry about it. But a cPanel is what you would normally have as a single site. And you can see here, since we can activate or look at any of the cPanels, if I click here, that will take me inside of an individual site. Now I have what's called a cPanel, a control panel. This is what each individual site owner and yourself can use for managing each site. And this is where most of you have abused the privilege in the past, hands up, and used File Manager and jammed as many sites as possible into one directory. Instead of having your WordPress in the root, you guys have shoved 15 different clients in the root and then WordPress inside of each of those. And I cry for your future if you continue to do that, because it's going to just catch up on you. So going back to WHM, let's start out with pretending you bought a reseller account, you set it up, and you've got a client domain. Like in this case, my client domain is called 1WD Lab. What's neat is that I've set up the DNS so that anything at 1WD Lab will resolve to this WHM area and will be added automatically when I create a new site into the hosting records. This means that if I add a new site right now in WHM with a prefix on it for a client, it will automatically resolve without me having to do anything else to the domain name records. Now, this is like something that is a little more advanced for us to worry about today, but it's covered in our Earn 3K hosting course, and I have several videos on the topic. But just think of it like a phone book. When you go to GoDaddy and you buy a domain name, your domain names will be listed at GoDaddy. When you want to do a reseller account and you want to add sites automatically that are all subdomains, it's better and easier if you let GoDaddy hand off the phone book to your site host, so that GoDaddy just says, lab, somebody's typing in something labclient.com. GoDaddy says, oh, I used to have the yellow pages for that, but I gave it to A2 Hosting, and now A2 Hosting has the yellow pages. So any traffic coming in for Lab Client, send over here. Now A2 Hosting has in the WHM the ability to automatically know, oh, here's a list of all the sites that were created as a main domain or a subdomain of 1WD Lab. And if any of those match, I will direct the traffic into the appropriate site. So for example, if somebody comes in with some request for something at Lab 1002, I know I could just send them into the 1002.1WD Lab site. Okay. Now, once we've done that, we don't ever have to worry about adjusting any of the domain name settings. Many of you are freaked out because you don't understand why you have GoDaddy, let's say, and you register a name, and then you point, per our instructions, the domain records to your host. You're freaked out, like, why is it when I go back to GoDaddy and try to change things, it doesn't work? Because GoDaddy handed off the phone book listing to this site host so that they can write, and if you will, like, again, imagine a yellow pages where you could edit it by hand. They can write in, oh, yeah, we've got a Lab 1002. It's right in this office here. Or we got a Lab 1005. It's right in this office here. You don't change that anymore, GoDaddy. GoDaddy's passing the buck for everything at Lab Client or your particular domain. All right, now we've figured out just generally what we've got. We've got a host that's a reseller account. We can create a new site manually. Let's create a new site manually for today, okay? I use these shortcuts. List, create. You don't have to. You can do it graphically, but that just gets you right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a new site. And when I create my sites, I manage the stuff with a Google Doc. Okay. So what I do is go to docs.google.com, and I'm not going to show you my real spreadsheet, but I'll just show you an example. I created a master spreadsheet for client stuff. You can see it here. I'm not going to show you that. Sorry. But let's just put it like this. You could say client ID, and then I'm going to keep this one super simple. You know, client name, if you want, you know, client email. Now, here's what the thing is. We're going to go ahead and say cPanel. Let's just keep it simple. We're going to reuse it. So we're going to say username, password. This is a very basic version of what we teach, but I want you to just get this like super fast, super quick. So here's what the deal is. When we're creating a new site, we need to know that we're not using it again. So I would look at my other list of where I have stuff, and let's say I've got, you know, 1000, lab 1001, lab 1002, so forth, lab 1003, lab 1004. Okay, and now I know I have a 1005. So today, let's do a lab 1006. Now, you don't have to do lab, but what you should do is have a prefix that is unique to yourself, and then a 4-digit number for the client. And this is going to get added to the the primary domain, like we use lab client. So that's how you arrive at the final domain or subdomain. Lab 1006. .lab client or .1wd lab or whatever you have is the name of the client's account, as well as the URL of where to find their site, even before they add their final domain name. So you can set up the entire setup we're doing now before your client makes a choice of what they want to actually use for their final domain. And once they set up a final domain, they can still use this as a utility. So they can use this instead of going in via the domain. For example, those of you might not know it, 1wd.tv is our domain. But if you typed in lab2047.labclient.com, guess what? Resolved to the same spot. Okay? Utility that we use, and this has worked to save so much time and frustration. So we go over here to a WHM, and we're going to create a new site, lab1006.1wdlab.com. Remember, that's the main domain I'm using here at this A2 account, 1wdlab. User is that same prefix. See how easy this is? Lab 1006 is the username. Password, we're going to generate. Make it really nice and hard. And then I'm going to, watch this, I'm going to copy this over. So username 1006, password here, okay? Now, those of you who think you're going to be a wise guy here, I'm not going to use this password. I'm going to change it, and you won't see it. Because there's always some wise guy that's going to try to log in while I'm doing this live, okay? So just as an example, understand that now I've got Joe Smith, joe@smith.com, lab 106. And if I want, I could say, you know, date started. If you wanted to keep track of these, date canceled, and, you know, so 12, what is it, the 18th? 18. And you can even say it's like, maybe he's paying you $25 a month for, you know, basic service, or $50 a month for advanced, okay? Now, let's go ahead and set this up. So I would normally take this password, I would copy it, and I would say, yes, I'm going to use it. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change it without telling you. Okay. I know what it is. You don't know what it is, but we can still do this tutorial. Okay, now here's where I put in my email all the time. Now you put in, you know, your name at youremail.com. That way, it will always work for you on all of your client sites. Use the same email for setting up. That way, when you have problems, you will know exactly without thinking what to use. I want to point something else out too. In the stack, notice because the site subdomain is lab 1006 and the username is lab 1006, we can use this for WordPress and the same password if we want for WordPress, and we'll always know who this person is. Because have you ever had a problem where Joe Smith has Joe at Smith, but then his PayPal is joey2240@aol.com, or his wife takes over the account and it's, you know, Susie Smith, blah, blah, blah. The whole point is, by not relying on the person's name or email, but on the account number, it's agnostic to whomever it is that the client's name is. Maybe he wants to suddenly start being billed by his client's name. He's going to sell it to somebody, or he wants to be billed by his corporate name. It doesn't matter because you're using this as the consistent variable. And that's going to save you a lot of trouble. Cheryl and I talked about this one time. By using the username of the subdomain account, or the subdomain account as the username, you save yourself tons of grief later. Okay, package is simple. Packages are basically things that you're offering to the clients. And I'm not going to cover that here, but we offer at least a simple basic package for all our clients, or in this case, for all of our own sites we set up. There's nothing else you need to do here. You can maybe set the mail to automatic. We do not offer email. That's a #1 rule of our hosting training. Never offer email. Clients should get email from Google Apps or apps.google. And it's an upsell for you to set it up and manage it. And for them, it's all the benefits of Google's email. And for you, you don't have any of the headaches of trying to let them run some old-fashioned email stuff here. Never allow email, okay? Now, we go ahead and click the Create button, and we're going to get a new site set up. Patrice asks, is there a way to have your information private in the Whois directory through GoDaddy? I can't tell you through GoDaddy, but I know that almost everyone else can use an outside privacy server. So there are companies, if you type in domain name privacy service, okay, you can find a lot of them. Almost all of them are inside of the host, so I'm 100% sure. Can't believe you haven't been upsold this before. Here, private registration. There you go, Patrice. Just Google is an amazing thing. $8 a year per domain inside of GoDaddy. Oh, inside of Google. You asked Google, didn't you? I typed GoDaddy. Well, actually, that's the thing. I don't know if you're buying your domains from Google. Yeah, I'm confused with what you asked. Hold on. Through GoDaddy. Okay, yeah. I answered it correctly the first time. I had a brain fart there. All right, so staying on topic, here we now have confirmation that we've set up the site. And what will happen is there will be an email that will be sent to me. I'm not going to open it here. That will also send me a confirmation of what I did. But I don't need to worry about that too much, because under most situations, what I can do is, now this is tricky. Sometimes I have to open up a new browser that has not been used for the creation process, because sometimes my browser cache is holding information about this WHM, all right? So sometimes if I want to log in on the outside, I would have to do that. So one way to deal with this is if I go back here and I say list, I can stay in WHM and just click cPanel, and oftentimes that'll just save me the trouble. But if I wanted to log into cPanel otherwise, I would go lab 1006.1wdlab, and then I would type cPanel. Okay, that's how I would get into this new site, into the cPanel, and it should give me a login dialog where, again, it's kind of simple. I now use the username, which is the lab 1006, and I type in the password that I didn't show you. In this case, it worked. Okay, so you can get in either way. It's your preference, but sometimes your browser will be naughty and it won't let you log in to the direct URL unless you clear the cache. Sometimes I just use another browser. Okay, now we've got our site. inside of our web host manager, we're working our way through the stack. So if we've got this ready to go, we can save even more time. Here's how. In last week's Friday webinar and in all of our bonus training, I explained to you how you can push your way to a new client very quickly when you're using the stack by having a few sites set up. So if you really want to do yourself a favor, imagine you were running a bike rental shop, or in this case, we stayed with a school bus. Let's say you've got a big bus and you're drop the kids off to school and you got the empty seats. Why not do some moonlighting during the day and go on driving around town saying, hey, $5 to ride the bus anywhere you want to go. I mean, you already got the bus. Why not prepare 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sites that have nothing on them except for your quick launch, so that the next time a real live prospect comes along, you don't even have to do what we just did. Okay? And this is the secret to why I'm pitching this as a 3-minute or less solution, because you're going to have the server, you're going to have the bus seats, you're going to have a couple of the seats already set up with WordPress sites that have your quick launches in them ready to go. So that when you drive along your bus during the day and you see some guy or gal looking for a ride, you just stop on the curb, go, hey, I got an empty seat, $5, take you down the road. They go, hey, cool. And then you form a relationship. They go, hey, is this a bus service? Yeah, well, here's my phone number. Call me anytime you need a ride. I'll be, running this route every day. Ta-da. In the future, who knows? Maybe they're going to have a bachelor party and they need to rent your bus with 50 people and going to pay you $500 or $5,000. That's what we're going for here. You've got a bus, you got the seats, prepare the seats with a ready-made solution like we're going to talk about. Let's talk about first how we need to make it super ready. Well, if we were going to do this from scratch, you know that there are tools inside of cPanel, I hope you know, but I'll explain it otherwise, that let you launch in literally a couple minutes a new WordPress installation. So if we wanted to do that, we could either go right here and use the Softaculous installer, or we could just type in here probably WordPress. Either way, it's going to let us manually add a new WordPress site. So simple. I've gone through these before, but I'll just show you what you do because it's just easy. And this gets it ready so you can use it for whatever you're going to do. So click install. And we'll see here we got the domain we're going to use. We're not going to put it in any directory. Remember, it's going to go into the root of the site. Don't be naughty. Don't start messing with me and go client 2. Don't do that. Put it in the root. Again, I'm going to change some things here. Okay. I am going to make this easy for our demo, but you could also go with the same protocol. I would recommend that you set up the admin as the same username. It's going to be unusual and it's possible somebody could figure it out, but you could put a flair on it. So if you wanted, use some pattern of things that make sense to you that is in line with one of the videos I made. Cheryl maybe can dig it out. If not, don't worry about it. But if it's a pattern of extra stuff, maybe what you do is do this. You always put, ampersand, 9875, I'm just making stuff up. Right? Maybe that is set up the email like before. I'm going to use the same thing. So it's your name at your password. And I'm going to take this information and I'm going to put it back in my spreadsheet. Now, if we wanted to do so, remember I used this password before. If we wanted to do so, we could have a separate column. So for example, I could do WordPress username, WordPress pass. That's up to you. I think it becomes redundant because if in fact I do use the same thing, which I will often do, it just becomes kind of silly, right? So if you use a separate password, you maybe don't even need this column, but it just leaves open the possibility that you might do something unusual here, or you might change it, so you have something different between cPanel and the actual user. All right, let me make a quick note here. Let's go back over here, and I'm going to say, no, I'm fine, thanks. And now there's some advanced options. So what we can do here is change the database name, but you can just leave it alone. With WordPress, you probably don't want to have all your sites with the same WordPress prefix and number anyway. So this just automatically generates it. It also generates an unusual or unique prefix for all the tables. And that's good because, again, it could be anything you want. This will make it that each of your sites is slightly unique, which helps with hacking. I disable all these features. I disable the notifications, but I should say enable auto upgrading for the plugins, the themes, everything. I also have a backup once a day, and I keep 2 backups. All right, and if you want, you can have it email the details here. Okay, I'm not going to do that, but you can have it do that. So if you forgot what you just installed, it'll send you another reminder. Okay, and it's not happy because I think I forgot a .com. Okay. It just takes, a minute or 2. I've never found it take 3 minutes, but this isn't the 3-minute part of my WooCommerce. This is to show you effectively the basics on how to get this thing set up for the purposes of having your school bus ready. Okay, so the whole premise is that we're going to have a school bus ready, and now we do. Now we've got Lab 1006 that has a seat for somebody to take. It's got installation of WordPress. Oh, I'm getting a message. Now, next thing is we want to make it even easier, because when we use the system at 1WDTV in the stack, let's go back and review that slide here. We have what's called a quick launch solution. And the quick launch solution means that you don't have to literally assemble the theme, the child theme, the plugins, everything else from scratch every time. If you're doing that, it's okay, but you're wasting so much energy. So much energy. It's just ridiculous, because ultimately you don't need to do that. All right, so let's get on track here. We've done WHM, we've done the cPanel, we've done this. We're here. Quick launch is something that we've come up with that allows you to take a pre-bundled solution that either you've put together yourself or that you've gotten from us. For example, one of the incentives for you to join today is that we're not only going to give you the quick launch of our starter theme and our starter setup, but we're also going to install it for you if you want. If you join as a full-blown member, you will get the VMK, which is the thing I'm going to show you for video membership with e-commerce. It's the basis of our training that we use to show you how to sell that kind of thing for $2,400, $3,600. But with a tool called Manage WP, we can now take a pre-made site in its totality and launch it in under 3 minutes, which means all of the features. Making a note for show. Okay. I'm making notes of what we're going to talk about here. Okay, next thing is, so now that we got WordPress, let's go ahead and do the basics of logging into WordPress, and we're going to connect to Manage WP. So we go to the WordPress admin of this site, and remember, we've got the login of right here. K-19 Widowmaker is a good movie. I know you guys are going to be wise guys and do this, so try not to get in on this before I change it, because every time I show a password here, I change it, but just don't get in there before me. So Lab 106. I've got a little bit of a lag time, so I think I got like a 3-minute head start on you. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and change my password. So what I'm going to do is go to my profile. And this is for you guys. WordPress has this new password generator, and I could use that if I wanted to, but I'm going to hide that. And I'm just going to type in a new password. Okay. All right, now let's install Manage WP. Now, it is possible that you could do this in advance. There are pre-made packages and stuff, but it's just as easy to do it when you're setting up the site. And once we set up this one basic site, we can actually use the cloning tools in our WHM, so we don't even have to do these last steps over again either. We can just literally have one starter site and make 5, 6, 7, 10 copies of it right inside of here, which is super easy as well. Okay, again, using the leverage that's available to us. So let's add Manage WP. We just type in add plugins Manage WP. We install it now. And now at that point, we can go to our Manage WP account and go ahead and get what we want to do without delay. All right, so I'm going to go here to Manage WP, and I may have to pull this off the screen to log in. Yes, I do. So let me sign in here, stand by. Manage WP actually has a verification code. I'll share this with you. They have a double opt-in, and I like this. This is one of the rare times I recommend you do it. So you have to know not only my password, but you also have to be able to get a text message if you want to get into this account, which makes it really, really hard. I think it's almost impossible unless you're holding me hostage. Okay, so now what we've got is Manage WP. Now, Manage WP is a service that you can use for free for 30 days. And there's 100 reasons to use it, but the number one reason to use it is it allows you to manage multiple client sites. I've got all these demos set up, and do things like what we're going to do now, which is launch any client site as a complete site, launch it as a series of your favorite plugins or favorite themes, backup, add content. I go on and on. But the idea is you could try it for free with all the premium features for 30 days. I have nothing to do with it. We get no commissions or anything. And the idea is if you go there, go, just so they know it's coming from us though, if you do 1WDTV WP, I think that'll actually take you right there. They might be giving you a discount. Okay, I have to check it, but you get to use it for free, and even then you can use it a la carte. So if you decide to use it, fantastic. You get a 14-day trial, not a 30-day trial. It costs you like $4 to $6 a site, and you're going to get to do what I'm going to show you now. So I think that's going to make it very interesting. Enoch is asking, if lab1006.1wtv.com is a client site, how do I resolve it to the client selected domain? Okay, let's cover this topic. That's the number one question, and I breezed over it. But here's the deal. When you got your list of kids on the school bus, all your clients, and they all can be reached by the original working subdomain, your question is, now the client's site is done, and I want to turn it over to the client, and I want to let them park their name, like fastcar.com. How do I do it? Go into the cPanel for that kid, for that client, and you're going to go to the section that is called Parking Domains. If you scroll down, it's right here, Parked Domains. Parked Domains. Now, here's the thing. Imagine a school bus, and the school bus driver has 50 kids on the bus, and the school bus driver has to remember the names of all the kids. Does he want to know, hey, Spencer Foreman? Hey, Cheryl Forziati. Hey, Charlie Brown. No, it's going to be, hey, Blondie. Hey, good looking. Hey, smart guy. Hey, funny man. Okay, they come up with a nickname. And the same thing is true here. When you are using cPanel, you can park any additional names on top of the real name of the site. The real name of the site is the name you gave it here, the subdomain. The nickname is going to be your client's subdomain, your client's working name. Lost my. So fastcar.com, if I had the domain, I just go in here, create a new park domain, and this is like the bus driver sticking a nickname on a kid. I add it on. And now as long as the GoDaddy or whoever holds the hosting records is pointing that kid's domain to the proper place, fastcar.com will come over to this web server, and this web server will go, oh, fastcar.com, yeah, that's the nickname we use for Lab 1006. I'm going to send fastcar.com over to here. Now, in order to make sure that this all works, you do have to go to wherever you have your site name registered or your client, and you have to give it the proper A record. So in order for GoDaddy to know to send fastcar over to this server, we have to give it the IP address. Now, do you notice right here? Conveniently, this is the IP address. So all you need to do is copy this IP address, and you go into GoDaddy, and let's look here, GoDaddy, add a record IP. Let's give you a link. And here's the link on how to do it. You go to the DNS manager, you click add record, you select, I want to create an A host record, all right? You put in the host name, which you can use because it's inside of your domain host anyway. You can use the ampersand to represent the domain. Then you enter that IP address we just copied, 7598 or whatever the case is for you. And then TTL is how long till it should cache the information. So I like to put a short number in there, 1400 milliseconds, so that it's just constantly refreshing. And that's it. Now, I know many of you are freaking out on this, but just think of the metaphor. You've got a school bus. GoDaddy or whoever had your domain originally for clients had given your school bus the phone book so that if anything comes in for 1WD Lab, in my case, it knows to look for this school bus, and the school bus driver has a directory in the front that says, oh, yeah, we got a kid in this seat called Lab 1006. Now, at some point, the bus driver says, okay, that kid's been riding with me for a while. I know him. I want to remember him, so I'm going to call him blondie.com. So I just go ahead and park a nickname on top of him using cPanel. In this case, I'll call that kid fastcar.com. So now the kid has a nickname, which is called a parked domain on him, called fastcar. And it makes sure that the world can find him by fastcar and not just me. I'm going to go back to the domain host, and I'm going to also tell the domain host, hey, if anybody in the world is looking for a kid named Fastcar, I've got him on my bus. Here's the address where my bus is going to be located when I'm driving, 7598175. So send all the requests for that kid, Lab 1006, better known as Fastcar. Send that information also to this IP address, and then I'll forward it to the bus driver, who then knows he's in this seat, and he'll send the message to the kid. Okay, it's starting to register with you guys. All right, good. Now let's not forget what we're here for. We want to add that new website, Lab 1006. So we use Manage WP, and we're going to add it in here so that now we get all benefits we can of using Manage WP, including the ability to clone in 3 minutes or less. Okay, I can run a quick security check, but I don't need to. It's new. Once I add the new site, we can see that it now shows up in the dashboard. And if I want to, I can do even better, because if I go here, I can actually use this as an internal manager. I can actually look into the dashboard and see what's going on with the particular site, which is, really terrific. If I wanted to, for example, go, not sure which these sites are. Oh, those are okay. Let's go into the actual one itself. So we go over here to dashboard. This is from Manage WP. I go to Site Admin Dashboard. That's the WordPress site. And this is just as if I was logged in on the site. I can also do all these various tools. So at this stage, let's review where we're at. Got a school bus, created a site, gave it a name that is a username, stored it inside. I've got a stack of these ready to go, and I'll show you in the end how to copy these. Mick asked, how to park client's subdomain? Yes, of course you can park a subdomain. A subdomain is the same thing as a domain, okay? I know it sounds funny, but it's the same. So if I was to go back here, we've got a tool that does exactly what you're asking for. It's called parked domains. So if I created a subdomain called fred.fastcar.com, that's a subdomain. As far as directing traffic, I would add it as if it was a domain. Okay. Here's where you're freaking out, Mick. Everybody does, trust me. You're thinking, oh, a domain is only the main root and then dot something, but it's not. A domain can be everything, including the subdomain. If you did this as a subdomain and you put something unique in there, then you can go ahead and point all the traffic that comes from fred.fastcar.com to the root. See here, domain root, to the root. Here's where you're freaking out. You're freaking out because I know, and tell me the truth, Mick, I know you're violating the rule that I gave you here of not having other stuff in your root. I am 100% guaranteeing that you probably have used this tool, or your client did before, and they created a subfolder. Bad boy. Okay? They created a subfolder called, I could call it Fred, but let's say bad boy. And in doing so, you're trying to figure out, can I direct traffic to this? Of course you can. But if you do that, you're breaking all the common sense rules, because now you've got multiple folders of probably WordPress inside of one site. Nevertheless, if you did that, you could still park the domain onto that, or the subdomain, by going back to the first tool and saying, okay, here's Fred. Let's park it over here, not to the root, but let's park it to, bad boy dot whatever, 1W lab. I don't think you want to do that. In fact, what I would say is you could even start it from scratch. You could say, here, let's add the right name. So bad boy. I would just say bad boy dot, what do we call this? I have 1006. One second. I forgot. I had a complete brain fart for a second. Oh, .fastcar. There we go. So if you added this, it will now resolve to the folder that you just created. Badboy.fastcar.com will resolve to this subfolder that you probably have. And I don't want to get off track here, because all of this is a preface to what I'm really here to show you guys, which is the 3-minute, ease of use. Okay, but notice this. Now, here's what most of you have. Oh, I'm so sad. You've got a separate subfolder that has all the root stuff in it, and you probably put WordPress in there and so forth. So the solution is get this out of here if you've got it and move it to its own site. And there's ways to do that we cover, but whether you use Managed WP or one of my other tricks, this is bad. Okay, so what we want to end up doing is not having this set up. In fact, I would just delete it out of there, and I would make sure that in the process, we also make sure that we've deleted it as a subdomain. There's a lot of reasons that you don't know about yet, but I'll tell you that the number one reason is security and management. You can't manage all this stuff if it's all mixed into one thing any more than you can do that thing like with the family on the motorbike. Okay, let's go back to our point, because I feel like I'm going to maybe lose some of you guys. So we've got Managed WP set up, connected to this site. Now, what are we going to do to set it up? Well, we've got a model of a quick launch here. Let's take a site that we're working on, like Lab 209 is an example of our video membership kit, the new version. And this is going to have everything you need ready to go. It doesn't mean that you have to have it look like this, but 99.9% of what you're going to use is already set up and ready to go. Custom post type, video sample content, membership, WooCommerce, subscriptions, all the plugins, everything is here set up, ready to go. And since you can change this on your own once you get it started, much faster than if you had to start from scratch. It's better to take this pre-made TV dinner that has everything you want ready to go and just change a few of the details. That's what we talk about in our stack over here. We're going to install this quick launch in under 3 minutes, add the client credentials, and be ready to go for any customization we want. Okay, so let's do that. Let's add a timer. Going literally on the line here. And before we do that, let's finish up with our example. So we promised that we're going to have a ready-to-go clone. If I was going to do that, I'm going to use that Lab 209. So I just want to show you that I've already set up Lab 209 inside of here. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Hold on a second. Let me reinitialize Lab 209. I think, oh, you know what I did is I think I have to go into the site. I think last night I was playing with it and I turned off the Manage WP plugin. So let me get that set up. Stand by. At least something. That's why I say working with on a net can be a blast, but I just want to make sure I've got Manage WP set up. Hang in there. Okay. I think I got it now. I'm still here. I'm just getting my Manage WP configured so that we can use this VMK site as the model for what we're going to do right now. Okay, now we're good to go. So let me put this back on the screen. All right, so this is the stage that we're at. We've now got Lab 209. We've got Manage WP set up to it. We're gonna use this. This is a blank site that has all the dashboard features of e-commerce, and we'll review this after we're done. But I want to show you with the timer here that what we want to do is take the demo site, this Lab 209, notice the URL, and we're gonna move it to our new site, which is that Lab 1006 1WD Lab. Okay, so we've got a blank site here. We've got our original site here, and we've got the cloning tools in Manage WP. So all we need to do is just literally say we got a new client. We use the push technique. We went to the Starbucks. We found a mom or a dad or somebody needed the domain for their kid. We've already either set up a site like they wanted and it's ready to go, or we've got the cloning tool, like as I'm going to show you now, ready to be used so that we can choose from multiple different pre-made quick launch files. So for example, it's up to you. You can have a bunch of them all ready to go, but like imagine you were going to pack a picnic lunch for your friends or the kids on the bus. You can decide to just grab, you know, I'll take one of every type of lunch and have them ready to go. That way, if I meet a kid that wants, you know, peanut butter, I got peanut butter. If I want turkey, I got turkey. Or you could just sort of say, I'll pack all the ingredients I need. And that way, when I know what the kids want, it takes me still only a couple seconds to make the sandwich. Either way you do it is fine. It's still going to be under 3 minutes, but it really just depends on how much you want to prepare. I would recommend that you prepare, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sites that have at least 1 or 2 different types of quick launches so that you're always prepared with one bullet in the chamber. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to start the timer. This should be, is this a count up timer? Let's do a large stopwatch. There we go. There we go. Super cool. All right, let's see how we do. Ready? I'm going to chit chat the whole time. So I go to Manage WP and I'm going to use the cloning tool, Clone Wizard. I'm going to choose the site that I'm going to start with. Now this could be a backup file like we're going to give you, or it could be an online URL where you've stored it, or it could even start with a clean WordPress site, which would also be very fast. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to just type in 209, and I'm going to use this site, which is our model site. Next is it's creating a snapshot. of what it is right now. If you were to do this in advance, I think it's a good thing, because what you can do is create a site exactly the way you want it, snapshot it through Manage WP, and then save that file to use again and again and again. But we're doing this live. So now we're going to select the destination. And here I'm just going to type 1006. Got this site here. And if I want, I can add a new username and password. But, you know, in fact, I can do that. Let's go ahead and add that in. Remember, we saved that. So I'm going to use Lab 1006. You don't need to do this step, but you can. And I'm going to type in credentials. Okay, let's go. Ready? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Ah, I'm a little early. Usually that works out. Probably takes about a minute overall. I'll watch our clock when we're done. We're a minute 52 into it. Depends on how much data there is. Done. Let's pause. 1 minute, 59 seconds. Okay. Here was the site. I haven't changed it. Let's reload and see what we got. Ta-da! Here's Lab 209. Here's the Lab 1006. Let's go log in. And better yet, we don't even need to log in separately. We can go in the dashboard. Okay, so if we go over here to Lab 1006, we're already in. Let's just use the advantage of Manage WP. Now, you'll notice a couple things will come on. First of all, WooCommerce is like, hey, yo, dude, this is a new installation. Are we doing automatic payments here? I don't recognize you're connected to PayPal. That's okay. Don't worry about it. We're just going to tell it it's okay. We're fine. Just keep going. What I always do at this point is go to Settings, Permalinks. And what I want to do is make sure that my structure is as I wish, which is post name. And I can do either product or custom base. These are the default ones. And this, when I click save, will make sure that the database knows that all of the internal links should now point to this new URL, Lab 1006, or whatever we end up registering the site under if we add a client's name like fastcar.com. And that's it. I know you're surprised, but now we've got a working site. And how can we add it for the client's credentials? Well, let's go ahead just for the sake of argument and finish up the job. So let's say the new client is on here and they've got a different PayPal and a different username. Super easy. We're just going to go ahead and add a new user. And we'll call it, new client, or whatever the client's name is, Smith. Okay, and it's Fred@something.com. Fred Smith. By the way, this is the part of the stack right here. Add client credentials. And password we don't need to worry about, and we're going to make them an admin if we're ready to turn the site over to them. If not, just make them a subscriber or something, that they can log in but they can't do anything, and then you can change them to an admin later. Okay, and I add a new user. Done. I'm now officially done, right? Now, what else would I need to do? Well, in this case, I could go into WooCommerce and I'll just change the PayPal information, right? So I go Settings, WooCommerce, and I would go ahead under the gateways for checkout, and I would make sure that the person is using whatever system that I want them to. In this case, let's say it's PayPal, and I would put in, Fred's email here for his PayPal account. If he was using Stripe or one of the other methods, I would put that in. But the point is, that's all you really need to do short of adding the content. And now we can go ahead and, of course, add the content. We've already got a video post type up, so I could go over here. I could just start by editing an existing video. And I could just use everything that's in here as a model of what I want to do. I don't have to think, oh, geez, how do I get sample video 1, 2, 3? It's already here. Just change the YouTube URL and you're done. So about 1:59 with me chit-chatting, and I was able to launch from scratch a custom site for Fred on top of my stack. Now, of course, the entire premise of this is that you don't start from scratch every time. You have your school bus reseller account, you've got your client accounts, you've got maybe even a few blank ones set up. Now you say, blank ones, what do you mean? Well, these seats on the bus can be anything at any time. So if I wanted to do so, I can go right back into Manage WP and go, Fred changed his mind. You know what? He didn't want the WooCommerce site with membership. He wanted the other quick launch, or he wanted a blank WordPress site. No problem. Just go over here, clone migration, and let's do the same thing again. All right. What's the source to copy from? Let's do a clean WordPress install. What's the destination? Lab 1006. Okay. What's the user? Let's just make sure it's the right one, right? Five, 10, 15 seconds later, we'll have a brand new WordPress installation back where we started from. Or we'll have a different quick launch file installed. And so the idea is that I never have to worry again about going back and repeating all of the steps. As long as I've got a school bus that has a few empty seats in it, and as long as the seat has the cPanel with WordPress installed, I can then use Manage WP, done and done. I can then use Manage WP to do anything I want. In fact, I could take it one step further just to show you how clever this is. In Manage WP, I can add all of my favorite stuff. Okay, so for example, let me log in here again. If I wanted to add my favorite themes, I could do that through Manage WP, right? I could go over here to Manage Plugin and Themes, and I've got my favorites. I got my favorite themes from the repository or from my own storage, and I've got my favorite plugins. If I want to add a new plugin or multiple plugins, I can do that very easily. I just say I want to go to Lab 1006 as the destination, and I want to add, I don't know, let's add admin menu editor, and we're going to add easy digital downloads. Okay, I just click install plugin. It takes care of installing that stuff for me if the site is registered. And that way I don't have to worry about going in and doing it myself. In fact, I can add a ton of stuff, or I can go right to WordPress and do that, right? I can go and search for a new plugin like I don't know, short codes, if I know what I'm looking for. Find a plugin I like. I want to add this? Sure, why not? Click on it, add it, done. Never have to go back and do it the old way. Same thing with themes. If I want to go ahead and add a new theme, awesome. All I need to do is select here, and then I can type in a theme like flat. Look for some themes. I like this one. Install it. If I want to save it to my favorites, I can save it to my favorites, which is nice. So in the future, I can use it again and again. And then when I go back to my site, I'll see that the plugin is there, the theme is there. If I wanted to, I could have auto activated it. In this case, I'll just manually activate it. And then I can just look at my site over here. It's got the new theme, clean install, all the plugins. Okay, so let's review real quickly what we've done and why. All right, and how does this tie together with our system? Well, let's go back and finish the job. We added the client credentials. We customized with Lab Pages. Well, actually, in this case, we didn't customize with Lab Pages. So let me show you what that part is. Lab Pages is our definitive tool that lets you manage all kinds of custom things. So for example, one of our great students, Luke, had created this amazing front end that went on top of his video membership kit. So he created a site for this guy, Jake, who's a cool blues musician, and he's got a membership site, and it's driven in this case with our training and Paid Memberships Pro, but he wanted to make a cool landing page. So he did it with Lab Pages. And in doing it with Lab Pages, he also used our new free snippets modules. So in this case, the top module is a great, what we call Jumbotron navigation area that leads you to wherever you want to go on the site. Really handy feature, something we do a lot. So what we've done is gone to CodePen, and we've created an unlimited library of free snippets for you, including full site builds. So one of the things we've got are the components that are used in this particular site setup. Let me close this window, you can see. So we literally have a working model of what was used in this particular case to make the Jumbotron. And this is what's called a snippet module. You can see it, you can edit it, you can play with it, all in place. And yet when you're ready, you can add it to your site. And that way you can take something that your client likes, browse through all of our snippet modules, and see what you want. So for example, at 1WD snippets, we've got a really easy library where you can browse either as we release them, and then when you see what you like, you can click on it and see the working model. And when you join us for free, and I should probably log in here, you'll be able to see the code directly. So let me log in there. Hold on, I took you off of there so I can just log in. There we go. Let me put you back on there. When you're logged in as a free member even, you can then grab the necessary stuff you need to run this, right? And there's nothing fancy about it because let me show you how it works. So if we take the site that we just built and we go into the dashboard, let's go ahead and install the components real quickly that run this. This would be, lab pages, and this would be our snippets module. So I won't go into great detail here with all the other stuff, but let's just do the basics. If you were at 1WD and you were a member, you'd go in your dashboard, and as a WTS member, you'd have access to our stuff, including lab pages, which I'll download the latest version. And you would also want to grab a module, in this case, the snippet module. So I'm going to generate one, and I'm going to call this what I want it to be known as. So I'll call this Jake Jumbotron module. Shows top area for nav. That way I'll know what it is later, and it's easy to use. I download the module. Now I go back over to my dashboard, and I go ahead and install those plugins. I just say add new, and I'm going to go ahead and upload the lab pages first. We always want to have lab pages in place before we customize, because the modules need to see that lab pages is there. So add lab pages and activate it, and then we'll add the Jumbotron. Notice how fast this is. I mean, I am not doing anything because all of the hard stuff has already been done and demonstrated here. I can fork this and modify it any way I want and have my own copy with my own client's info, the name I want, right? So if I want it to be called Blues and Rock, I want to call it, Blues. It's WYSIWYG. I can actually modify this, all the contents, everything I want, and then save it for this client and manage and organize it. But in any event, getting back here, now let's upload our lab pages module, which is the Jake Jumbotron. You can install that. Now here's what's cool also. Right out of the box, we'll be able to use this as a model. But in order to get the best benefit, let's make a landing page. You'll notice that I'm not even using our custom child theme. I'm using the flat theme. I'm not using our custom child theme. You can use our lab pages with anything, because in this case, I'm making a landing page. And the landing page I'm going to make doesn't have a header or a footer or anything else that identifies the theme. So it's all good. It'll work with any WordPress theme you've got. So add new. And I'm going to call this Jake landing page, or whatever I want. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hide the title and the metadata because I don't want it, to show up anywhere except in the admin dashboard area. And therefore, this will keep it from showing up above my content. I want to automatically add the lab pages content to this page. And the rest of it I don't even need to worry about because I'm going to select a template called Lab Pages No Header Footer. That comes directly from the plugin regardless of what theme you're using. I'm going to click Publish. Now what I'm going to do is go to Lab Pages and sort my modules. But I don't have multiple modules. I only have one. So there's really nothing else to do here except I'm going to add the content I want from my version of this. So if I had a forked version, I would use mine or I'll use the original and start with it. So I take the HTML box, and let's do this, by the way. Let's show you so it looks the same. Here we go. I'm going to take the HTML from the HTML box, and notice the similarities. I'm going to plug it into the HTML box here. I'm going to take the CSS. Notice the similarities. I'm going to plug it in the CSS box. You can just match the pictures, folks. No coding required. I'm going to click Save. Okay. Now we're ready. Let's go to the page that we just created, which is the Jake landing page, and let's view it. Open a new tab. Ta frickin' da. Okay. We've now got a beautiful landing page started, which, by the way, this isn't the only thing that we're going to have. We can add all the same stuff from the snippets library. Now, there's one thing to point out. By default, this particular theme puts this border around its content. That's just the nature of that theme. If I switched back to our default, which is our responsive lab zip child theme, I think you'd do better, because by doing it that way, let me go back to that site. By doing it that way, you'll get the benefit of 100% width for a landing page. And I think that's going to look much nicer here. So let's activate our child theme. And let's go back to the Jake page. But in this case, when we look at it, and let's change this permalink too. Whenever you change something with Manage WP, I forgot to do this. And remember, we cloned WordPress. I should have saved the permalink. That'll avoid that weird, calling a page like page ID number 6. Okay, looks good. And now let's view the page. Okay, notice when you're using our responsive lab zip child theme, you get the beautiful option of the full width. All right. Brenda's asking a question, what does tidy mean in CodePen? If you do a bunch of stuff that adds line spacing and weird stuff, when you click tidy, it will clean up the code for you. It's kind of like a cleaning lady comes in, sweeps up all the spaces and all the weird stuff. It'll put a warning on if you've got something in there that's wrong. All right, so what have we got now? Now we've got a website that's got full video membership capacity, and it's got a landing page on the front side. And this is where we're at here, customized with Lab Pages, because now anything this client wants to do for selling stuff, adding stuff, promoting products, adding new products, everything is built in. There's nothing more for you to add. You just need to literally do it. And because Lab Pages is drag and drop, we can add multiple modules and put any kind of content in any way they want on either the front page, internal pages, and so forth. Then you deliver and get paid. And again, this is part of our bootcamp training. It's free when you join, and it's the essence of why we're doing all of this work, is because once you're done, you're going to send the client right there in Starbucks, hopefully. Hey, check this out. Look what I got for you. If we were to review this whole process, if you take the premise, which this is based on, that you have already set up your bus, and you've already got the seat, and you've got 1 or 2 different quick launches already set up, literally, it won't even take 1 minute and 59 seconds. You just literally will change the username and the information about who that person is, as well as maybe put their PayPal in, maybe put their brand name in, and you're done, right? So instead of it being Lab 1006, you can call it Fast Cars, change the Blues and Rock to Fast Car, auto driving lessons, change their video on YouTube from, the sample content to whatever their videos may already be or something similar. And then you say, hey, would you like this? You can do it like this. Hey, would you like this? The whole point of this is that we make it super easy using this system to deliver full solutions without any coding. Did you see me code one thing today? No. If I wanted to do this over again, okay, let's pretend that I started from scratch. Let's pretend I had my bus ready to go with Lab 1006, and I go over to Starbucks and I meet somebody that's a mom or a dad or a guitar player, or they're reading a book, and I say, blah, 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 follow the training on why they might want the solution, or maybe I have an existing client. All I need to do now is go to my dashboard. I go, oh, that's a perfect example of somebody who needs that video membership kit that I have a quick launch for. All I need to do is go right here, clone migration wizard, start the timer, okay? Clone migration wizard, I'm gonna use that file that I had, or that site that I have, okay? In this case, it's the 209 site, I remember. I can name it appropriately. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put that onto that 1006. Remember, if you've already got the snapshot, you don't need to even do this point, this 1 minute part. I'm gonna add it over here to 1006. Okay, and if I want, I can add, just to make sure, 1006. Next, clone. I'm just here having a cup of coffee, talking chit chat. Hey, I want to show you something, Susie. Hey, Bob, I want to show you something real quick. Are you interested in a video membership site? Because look, I can show you this. Or do you just want that single page landing page for your kid? I happen to have done this before. I've got one ready to go. Let me show you. Just give me a second. Hold on. I'm going to show it to you live. Let me just turn my laptop around here. And oh, look at that. They've got the new flat whites from New Zealand. Okay, done. All I need to do is go over to the site, reload. It's ready to go. If I want to edit it, that's fine. I just click, stop the timer. 1 minute, 23 seconds. Okay, 1 minute, 23 seconds. And now I can do everything else I want to do in the stack. Add Susie's name, add Susie's kid name, add her PayPal, add a picture of the kid, whatever I want to customize it. I've got all the tools, and I have my favorite plugins that I can put in. I can put in the details from a new Lab Pages module that I've got over CodePen. By the way, with the browsing, all of our snippets are available in our library, but you can also browse them by projects. So for example, if you notice over here, we've got our collections. And we've got one collection here as an example, the New Era site. These are all the modules that went to building this. We did a site for one of our students, Nina and Dave, and they were coming from I think the Divi theme. And we put this together. These are all their modules that they're using on a live site. They're available to you to use. Just grab the code and use the snippets. Put them in your Lab Pages module, drag them around, change them, fork them, etc. Okay. I'm going to answer a couple questions, wrap it up, but I just want to say thanks to those of you who are still here. If this is amazing to you, fabulous. I've done my job. If you're paying for lead pages, $70 a month or more, I want you to give serious thought to that, because everything you can do in lead pages, you could do better natively inside of Lab Pages and do it with the same management tools, Managed WP, that I'm showing you, and be able to launch complete solutions, not just a single page site that has to be linked somewhere. If you're using tools like WooCommerce, or you want to use tools like WooCommerce, this will supercharge you, because now you can build full membership sites and all the features you want without all the tedious effort of assembling the Legos. This is a way for you to literally have a ready-to-go system to launch any fully blown, Harry Potter life-size Lego creation you want. And because you've got the bus, you can have an unlimited number of people that you can show it to this quickly. Now, I want to give you guys one last little tiny mini pitch here, okay? And that's what's going on with 1WDTV. At 1WDTV, we've set it up so that if you are interested in this kind of thing, you can come on board for free, get access to 400 free videos, tons of amazing tools and resources, and basically have access to things like today, where you'll get these live training sessions with Q&A. But what we really want you to do is to join as a member. It costs $97. And what you get for that is, by the way, this is 1 month, $97. And if you want to stay for only a month, that's cool. Cancel at any time. If you want to stay with us, the premise is that you're going to be making multiple times this every month, because this system lets you literally find a new client every day and launch something that we show you and give you literally the scripts and the training how to sell for $300, $1,200, $2,400, $3,600. So if you're not making many times your 97 bucks a month, you're doing something wrong. This includes $16,000 worth of our software. So if you go over here, you can see on our products, these are all the software components that are in our system when you join. They include our bootcamp, our different strategies like the 3K hosting, that's what I just showed you here today, the video membership that gives you all the training and psychology to find people who want to buy a video membership solution. You get our core holy trinity of plugins, which is really our child theme, lab pages, and the software bundle. Now the software bundle has $16,000, I'm not exaggerating, of Gravity Forms and WooCommerce plugins. You think I'm kidding? Let me show you. When you click here, you can see that's the wrong one. You could see here, let's say WooCommerce, I'll pick another one, Gravity Forms add-on. You can see the actual price of the plugin or the reference. So just browse your way through. We've gone and added these all up, and we found that most of them, like the ones from WooThemes, look at this, $129 for this one extension. If you want to use it on multiple sites, it's $300 for one extension. So it very quickly adds up while you're getting $16,000 updated every Friday of all the best WooCommerce Gravity Forms extensions, plus all of our custom plugins, plus our child theme, and so forth. You get access to all of our forums. This is where you're going to get personal support 24/7 on any technical question. You got access to our Hangouts on Wednesdays. That is the same kind of experience like you had today, every Wednesday with questions and answers. And in fact, you can see all the archives. We have literally hundreds of archives. We've been doing this for 2.5 years. You have access to all of the snippets that are in a library fashion, either serial, or you can do it like a category. If you click View Snippet Library, you can view this way. I want something for the body. These are all available for free. So you can get these whether you're a free member or whether you're in this joined area. But to take advantage of this, you'll need lab pages. Lab pages is the thing that lets you drag and drop all of the various snippets up and down. That's this main tool here. The snippets themselves are listed along with a couple different module types. We've got the snippet module that I just showed you. We've got what's called our image module that lets you take images from any source and build beautiful layouts along with any of these other two types. And then we've got what's called our layout module that gives you instant page layout stuff. So if you want to have 1 column, 2 column, 3 column, 4, and you don't want to bother with putting code in, you can use this. If I was to show you an example, I have over here a working model. Should have a couple modules in it. Yeah, here we go. So in Lab Pages, you can see I've got a variety of snippets. I've got a variety of other modules that I can put together, and I can just drag and drop them in the order I want. I can turn them on or turn them off, and then I can go ahead and take a look and see what they look like. And if I like the layout, I can keep it, and I can even make what's called a snapshot of it. So if I like the layout here where I've got an event timer and maybe a moving video background and maybe some other stuff, I can just go ahead and take a snapshot of this. I love this. I wouldn't call it that. I would call it the countdown with video and feature circles below. This is like storing a sandwich that I can use inside of any meal I pack for anybody. Because in the future, when I want to make a new page, I just add a new page, and then I go do the same thing. Hide the title. I'll call that snapshot with countdown. Disable the visual editor. I'll choose a header that I like. I'll choose the Lab Pages layout with header that I like. Publish it, and now I'll snap that in place. And when I do, and I save it, I've now got a static version of the live landing page that still has all the features working, and I can modify this to my heart's content. If I want to go ahead and edit this, I can edit just this instance. For example, I want to change the date to 2018. Watch the countdown timer. Update it. And now the countdown timer for this particular page is dynamically 110 weeks away. I can save this and use this with other content. So for example, if I want to add new content fresh below this, I can do that. I can even add live lab pages content and mix it with other static content. I can build anything in the world I want, because I can even use modules with lab pages that take live WordPress content. For example, what if I wanted to take, my featured posts and put it into a module? Already done. If I want to go ahead and put like, who are the most popular members? Already done. I can do anything under the sun. And remember, I can always swap themes. I can use this with any theme. So if I go to the dashboard in this sample site and I go to Appearance, Themes, I could switch to using another theme. Remember, we had that flat? So let's add that flat theme again. We used that on the other site. To prove that this is as simple as this. You have so much freedom, and all of this is done with native code. None of this requires you to touch the code, but unlike those other themes that take your information, put it into some black box and spit out something proprietary, this is 100% WordPress compatible. Nothing else about it has changed from the native WordPress. Look at that. Now, I would have to do one thing here. There's one thing on this theme I would tweak. I will admit to you that. Sometimes when I use a theme like this, it doesn't comply, and I just have to test it. I would just put a little wrapper around these modules, and that's easily fixed here too. So if I did that, I just go inside of my lab pages. And I would just put a container, for example, around the snippet module that has the video. Just go ahead and add a wrapper. Something that normally doesn't cause you any problem when you're using our native system, because we've already built in a safety net to your child theme, so that if you're using our child theme, you'll never have the instance. Let's see if that fixes the video real quick. There you go, a little better. I still have to wrap it up. When we're working with the system, if you do have a new theme like this one that you just try off the cuff and it doesn't work out, just let us know and we'll help you tweak it a little bit too, because 99% of the time, it's just a matter of putting a little wrapper or something like this. If I switch back here now to our other theme, refresh the page, you can see now that that container that I wrapped causes a different type of effect. What's interesting too is this is an actual style that you might choose to do. So you can do all of these with containers and have a nice border around them, or you can do what we've got here, which is full width. Okay. All of the stuff we talked about, 97 bucks. So if you were to look and see what's included in it, it's the only resource you need. You literally speaking don't need anything else. You've got everything to go join for free, try out our $7 deals, do a 97 buck 1 month trial. You literally can get started by going to 1WDTV/free, as you probably already have because you're here. Then you go to 1WDTV/join to try everything out. You've got my personal guarantee. You can pause at any time. So if you decide to stay, you can stay, but then pause after the first month, come back the third month. It doesn't matter. Your account will still be there. If you want, you can cancel and you get 100% money back refund in the first 30 days because there's no choice for me to keep you. I would rather you do this and succeed wildly and be happy than for you to be sitting here thinking like, what did I get into? That's my 100% satisfaction guarantee. And Cheryl and I and the rest of the team, Chris, stand by it, that you have no risk to try it and you have 30 days to do so. Okay. So I did go long today because this was kind of like me on a bender, but that's what happens on Wednesdays too. Plus you're not going to be seeing me for a week or so. Let me finish some of the Q&A questions because I'm sure there are going to be some. There's quite a few here. So let's do this. Let me get, let me switch the window. I like to answer the questions directly if I can. Okay, good. There's some good questions. I'm going to put this near here so you guys can, I look like I'm looking at you a little bit more. Oh, wow, lots of good questions here. Cheryl is helping me out today. Kevin asks, will you be doing another hangout or training on WooCommerce next year? Absolutely. Coming back strong, preparing stuff. I'll be back the 28th, so coming back strong for the 1st of January, whatever the dates are that lines up for. We'll have Wednesday and Friday, that first week. Question is, okay, I covered that. That was the domain name. Mick asks, how to park subdomain. Okay, I think he's got a follow-up on this. He says, what I mean was, imagine the client already uses his domain and doesn't want to buy a new domain. Can he point his subdomain to my lab? Yes. What you can do in that case is actually use the client's name. So that's a good question. And sorry, I went down on a tangent. But the truth be told, I've had many instances where this has happened. If you're in a coffee shop and you want the best of trying to sell the client on what you're offering, but you don't want to commit to buying their domain name yet. So let's say I'm doing the push technique in our free training to get little Susie Johnson's domain name and then have a site for her mom and dad and all the relatives to see. I don't necessarily want to commit to that until mom's or dad has said, yeah, we like it, and I want to get involved in this. So what I might do is just go into my cPanel and I will create a parked domain called susiejohnson.lab106. Or I'm sorry, 1WD Lab. That's what I mean. susiejohnson.1WD Lab. By parking that particular domain on that site, when somebody types susiejohnson.1wdlab.com, it will resolve just as if it was fastcars.com. Because remember, anything at 1wdlab.com or anything at your client root domain will resolve according to whatever you have parked in the cPanel. By parking that subdomain in the cPanel of the Lab 1006, it will resolve just fine. I'll do a tutorial on that actually, because that's a good technique on how you can save money and still get pretty close to the same effect. They just see Susie Johnson. They don't really read everything after that. It's kind of like when you get an account with one of those, you know, Wistia or one of the other places where they, you know, used to give you a prefix subdomain, you know. I think you still get that on things like Quora. Daryl asks, do you need to add a record for a park domain if the client's domain is already pointing to my name servers? No. So if your clients already sent their domain name to your name servers, don't worry about it. You don't have to add it because their server is already handing the phone book, so to speak, to your servers, and any traffic that comes in is already being sent to your servers, and your server knows, oh, here, we got this guy. Jovi asks, where an advanced web designer can look for new clients except WordPress.org. Look at our push techniques. What you need to be doing is making relationships with people who are already established but suck at design. How do you do that? Go to the WordPress forums to start, as you say you don't want to do, and find people that maybe have sites that are having technical problems, and then find that their sites suck design-wise. You can also go to Codable.io, which will only take you nowadays if you have some degree of WordPress experience. You can follow our other techniques where you find a particular niche in WordPress that makes you excited. In my case, I did social networking and forums with BBPress and BuddyPress. And then go to those forums and start helping people out gratuitously with design. Go lurk at various other forums for various interests, including other themes, and see if you can help people answering questions. The formula is the same. If you put the right kind of bait on your hook and you offer it for free, people will talk to you. Build a relationship with them. When you build a relationship, by the way, if you're a talented person, they will want you to be their guru. And that's when you start the financial part of the relationship. Pat asks, after you park and point the main domain A record over to your Lab 1006, do you need to change the URL of the WordPress install? Very good point. So let me just show you guys this. If in fact we followed up on what we were just teaching you, which was, I don't know if this is the right site. This will work. If we followed up on this and we were over here in our WordPress installation, let's say we're our Lab 1006. And now we're done and the site is finished. And now the client is parked fastcars.com. You're going to want to go to Settings, General at that point, only after the site is done. Let's do it through the Manage WP dashboard. Only after the site is done. And why? Is it because if you've got the site on your lab or whatever client prefix you use, nobody's going to find it really. In fact, you can kind of turn off Google indexing and block robots until you're done. That's a freebie where you and the client could pretty well access the site without one of those crazy front-end screen blockers. But yet when you're ready, go to Settings, General, and then change it only then to the real domain. Change the WordPress address and the site address. Save it, and then what you're going to have to do is log back in again and change the permalinks again. Save the permalinks. But do that only at the end when you're absolutely ready to launch the site live. And it's as simple as that. Good question. I'm glad you thought of that. Mick asks, okay, you covered that. Claire asks, can you park a domain if the site existed on example.com and you're rebuilding it on your lab 1006? Can you park a domain if the site exists on example.com and you're rebuilding it? You can park a domain anywhere. So as long as the domain host, like GoDaddy, has said, give me your IP address, or you've told it, give me the IP address. Where is the server that has this site? As long as you tell the domain host the IP address where to point the name, and then at the site where you're now hosting, you've said, I'm parking this name onto this site, you're good to go. Remember the kids on the bus. If the kid named lab1006.1wd lab is in the bus driver's seat, and the bus driver knows, hey, that's Blondie, as long as the bus driver tells, the server, which it does automatically, hey, Blondie is the name of the kid in that seat who's normally going by lab 1006, then anything passed to that site server will get directed to Blondie. The key is to make sure that everything at GoDaddy for that original domain is sent directly to the server. So the server can look in the book and go, yeah, oh, the bus driver said lab 1006, the kid name is Blondie. I'll send this message to him. Eddie, do you have to pay for each of the domains named 1WD Lab and Managed WP? No, that's the point. That's the value. 16 bucks and change if you get the multi-year contract. You could do 25, 50. If you only do one-page sites, you could probably do 100 sites in there. There's no limit on A2 hosting. You don't pay for each one. That's the point. Stack up 10 of them. Have them ready to go. That's what I did when I started my first business. I did that on HostGator. It's a whole nother mess back in the early days. I used to just set these up because you can clone. I'll show you that in a second before I go. You can clone sites directly inside of the cPanel, right? You can do it fairly easily. Or I just do the Managed WP. Arnie asks, what's the preferred method not to get these empty seats indexed by Google? Well, there's an option right there in WordPress that you can turn on, Arnie, that prevents these from being indexed till you're ready. And you can also use tools for that. But right inside of each WordPress site is an option under reading, I believe it is. Search engine visibility, settings reading. Just click this. Now, they may screw you over and not honor it. That's a possibility. So the other thing you can do is you could set up a landing page plugin, like a coming soon one. And I always use Ultimate Coming Soon page. I don't like these because I think they're a pain in the butt. Am I showing you the right screen? I'm not showing you the right screen. Sorry. Hold on. Oh, Google. You naughty girl. Here we go. What I was saying is settings, reading, search engine visibility. Check that box. If they don't honor that, then the plugin I was recommending would have been Ultimate Coming Soon. And this is a great plugin. You can just do a simple page. You can install this. I'm not going to do it. It's very easy. You can put anything on the front page you want. It just keeps the everybody out, including the index, as far as I can tell. Okay, last, I think, question. Brenda, there was a webinar once where I listed the lab-based plugins that should be on every new install. I can't find it. I assume you can have these ready to go manage WP. Yes. I've mentioned this many, many times, including a recent Hangout. If you send us a forum question, we'll probably dig it out or we'll find it in our index. But all you need to understand is that if you are using Manage WP, you could save all of your favorites right here under Manage Plugins and Themes, including you can have full clones. Now, I didn't show this before, but besides the favorites of plugins and themes, remember when we made the clone of Lab 209? If I go to Lab 209, where I know I have a clone, I'm just going to go into the dashboard, and I'm going to go right here, Recent Backups. Okay, Recent Backups has the ability to make a backup, a full backup that I can use for a clone. Okay, so if I back this up now, the way I wanted it, I can store it automatically to any of these locations, Dropbox, email, Google Drive, or I could just make it locally here and download it. See, this is 16 megabytes. I would just download this file now, save it, and then in the future, this is what I would do. This is what I would do with you guys. If I go to Dropbox, I can create a setup, for example, either in a public folder or in a private folder. That is what I want. So let's say I create a new folder and I'll call it files. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show this in the Finder, and I'm just going to take this thing and I'm going to call it Lab 209 launch. I'm going to zip it up, or I'm going to take the zip that I made and I'm going to drop it up here. It's only 16 megabytes. Okay. And when I do, I will have a URL that I can use. And I'm going to prove this to you in a second. This definitely has turned into a monumental Friday. I'm giving you guys a double, triple. View the details. I can share that link. Okay, so if I copy this link and I go back to Manage WP, if in the future I wanted to do so, I could keep this. By the way, I could do another spreadsheet here and go launch favorites. I can, for example, put the URL in here or something. Okay. This file will be deleted, so don't worry. If I put this in here, I need to edit this slightly. In order for this to work with Dropbox, we need to actually get rid of the www and do DL. And I like to get rid of the HTTPS part, so /DL Dropbox. So this is the format that we ultimately need. I take this, and again, I will delete this when it's done. If I want to create something new, I could just go ahead and do the same thing. I can use the clone migration wizard, and when it says the source, now I could just put the URL in here. That's it. And then I say the destination. And I think I just being redundant, but I could do lab 1006. I don't need to do the this admin thing every time. I just do it to make sure I can log in without guessing at what it was before. Oh, I take it back. I need to add, I apologize. I didn't realize that. I need to add the does want that. Destination. And it works, should work, just as easily as if I had it locally. Now, this is the huge, huge, huge time saver because, again, imagine you got your ultimate setup. You got the bus, you got everything else, and then you got your clients here with some pre-made sites ready to fill in the seats with their name, and you've got some URLs here of your quick launches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different versions. All you need to do is go to the bus and go, okay, I got a seat, Lab 1000. I'm going to put Tony in there, and I'm going to pick that quick launch #2 version that launches the the hockey player site. And when you do, done, right? That's it. It's so easy, so easy. When you save all these stuff, do you see how long it takes to do that? That was like 22 seconds compared to creating a site, standalone, setting up cPanel, putting, you know, all this stuff. Once you've got your core, your life is going to be so good. You're going to love it. Where's my list? Okay, I think I got the last questions. Tidy and CodePen, Brenda, I mentioned, cleans up the code, gets rid of spaces. Daryl asks, can existing members get a quick launch file? Yes, you will. Your VMK membership, or sorry, your WordPress training system membership gets you in the software bundle. You'll get at least 2 quick launches. Those I'm trying to clean up, get done before I go out of town. DJ Pete, how many themes or templates do you have with Lab Pages? Unlimited. This is the difference. This is the best question of the day. DJ Pete, here's the difference. When using WordPress themes, you're committed to a theme. When you're using those crazy themes, like the Divi and the Avita and the X theme, you're committed to whatever they've hard-coded into their little black box to make things spit out. With us, one last example, when you use lead pages, you're kind of committed to sort of whatever they give you in a template. And yes, you can turn things on and off, but you can't drag and drop them, and you can't use them natively with WordPress content, and you can't edit them natively, and so on and so forth. With our method, you could take an image, a snippet, or just any text, put into a module that you custom name that's native code, and if you don't know code at all, just grab the code from our sample. You can then add any pre-made style you want using our one-step styling. So as I'll show you, you can use our customizer and turn on a pre-made theme or customize your theme with WYSIWYG. Point of the whole story is that you can make anything from anywhere. Think of it like Legos. Even if you buy the pre-made kit with the Star Wars Death Star, if you've got 20 other kits and all the parts are left over, you can build anything under the sun you want, not just the Death Star. You can mix and match. That's the beauty of doing this. Enoch, how do you resolve this challenge if the, I don't know what that means. The 1,000 megabyte per second allocation is 99% use. I have no idea what that means, Enoch. You're welcome to send me a support question. That is the most unusual question ever. I have no idea what you're talking about. 1,000 megabyte per second allocation, 90. I'm not sure who your host is, but it sounds like your host is throttling you. Anyway, I can't believe I've gone 2 hours on a Friday. This is unheard of. In 3 years, I've never gone 2 hours on a Friday, but hopefully this was an exciting, unusual session. A lot of times Wednesdays will go 2 hours if people want to stay. This will be available as a recording. If there's any blip in the recording, sometimes what I do is try to make sure that it's online immediately on our site, but this is a long one, so it might need to be a little bit more time encoding. Bottom line is, I hope all of you have a happy and safe holiday. I'm available throughout the holiday. You can reach me always here. We'll, for all those who have joined, be releasing new stuff constantly. But the idea is to get the 2 quick launches, the 2 sample sites with all the new modules, everything working so you can play on your holiday days and your days off from work and come up with a strategy like I think we've talked about here. Start your new year fresh with a commitment that you're going to take this $97 sample time and go get your new client from where we tell you to get them, use the system, use the training, use the, you know, the examples on how to close the deal, and then more importantly, just immediately show them what it is you're doing so they can pay you. They can be excited, like the checkout line at the supermarket when you see that new People magazine with the Kardashians. There's another Kardashian baby, another West baby, North, South, East, West, Prince. What is it? The idea is you can be just as exciting to a client in a Starbucks, like, oh my God, there's me and my baby on a new website and her name. Fantastic. What do I do? If you have any questions, follow up 1WTV/support. This is Spence. I'll see you in 2016.